Welcome to Finance Series with Oyekemi Ajayi. It is a great pleasure to connect with you. We're going to be talking about the unspoken realities of work. You know, there are certain things that are not said, but said in the workplace that actually shape the way people grow, the way they show up, and the way they even show up in their professional lives. We're going to be talking about real life issues in the workplace, how to address them, how to navigate your growth in the workplace. So if you're a young professional, whether in the finance space, whatever industry you find yourself, these are experiences that you will typically face. Politics in the organization, even though in some organization it is not pronounced, but these are things that you need to pass through as you grow. You can't escape it. So we're going to be talking about these real life issues and how to navigate them. I have professionals in the house who have passed through a lot in their career. They have almost 2 decades of experience and they've seen a lot working with the older generation to the young generation, and they've been able to navigate this and are occupying leadership positions in their organization. We're going to be hearing their story. We're going to be having heartfelt conversations that would help us to also navigate our path in our career. I have with me Simi in the house, and I have Adaobi as well.
So
it's very nice to have you here.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. We've been on this for a very long time. So this means a lot to me. I'm really happy that we are able to connect and bring this to you. So follow us as we go into this round of podcasts. It's going to be very amazing, and stay tuned to the end. Thank you.
Good.
All right, so good to have you once again. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
So I'm going to be starting with just general questions about your experience in the workplace, how you've been able to grow. And my very first question is around those things that you wish you had known before now. You know, like I used to tell my siblings that I wish I had a mentor or a coach, right, that would have actually put me through certain things after school. But I didn't have that. But for young professionals out there that don't have that opportunity, we'll start with you, Simi. What's your experience and what do you wish you had known before now?
Thank you, Kemi, for having me. And Ada, good seeing you again.
Good to see you.
It's my pleasure to be here. I think you started on a very good note, and you had mentioned some of the challenges that I had, which is the importance of a coach. And again, maybe a mentor. A mentor, it's somebody that you look up to, but coach is more intentional about you.
Yeah.
But what helped me was I was exposed to books quite early. So even though I didn't have a physical coach that could coach me, I could read books. Then I remembered around 2009, 2010, the earlier days of my career. So I'll buy a newspaper, look at maybe there's a position I intend to be. I'll look at the skill set that they have. I'll look at the certifications they have, the education,
more like the requirements.
So I then had to start to apply myself to ensuring that I get those things. So the importance of leveraging somebody that had worked on a path beyond work in anything that you try to do is extremely important, because there are some mistakes that I made that I would not have made. Right. Because I didn't have a coach, that was why I made those mistakes. Then when I got to the middle management level, my dad had retired. He spent about 35 years in civil service. So he then became sort of my coach. So, and he worked in civil career where there's acute politics, but a lot of these issues, right? And so I started leveraging him, spending a lot of time with him on the call. He would then advise me in some scenarios, this is how you do it. And one of the key aspects of that learning was the importance of communication, right? Didn't just make sure everything is documented, because people can forget, people can claim they forget, etc.
Yeah. So when you say everything is documented, for organizations, there are some that will use WhatsApp to communicate, and they feel it's very fast, they can easily pick it up on their phones and all that. What form of communication do you advise? Because if I have an organization that is WhatsApp we use, I don't know, WhatsApp of business, with the information gets wiped away, would it get missing in transit or something? So do you recommend we use emails or maybe make it a bit formalized? So
it depends on the context, right? If I'm giving you basic updates, say you're my manager, I could do WhatsApp. But when it comes to things that ties to commitment, for example, I'm negotiating a budget. I'm negotiating a bonus We could have initial conversations on WhatsApp, but you have to put it in an email.
Yeah.
In fact, I have some partners, some Chinese partners, who prefer WhatsApp chats and messages. I don't know if you recall, I was receiving a call. I told the lady, no, don't call me. Send a WhatsApp. Then when we agree, go and put it in an email.
Okay.
Right? Because email creates this sense of, I am committing to this.
Right.
So people are extra cautious to, to commit when you put something in an email. So again, I also encourage that. But like Riley said, it depends on the nature of the organization. When I was in tech, we used a lot of, when I was actively working in tech, we used a lot of Teams and things and Slack. So in that context, Slack is suffices because that's the policy of the company. It's a tenable document. Whatever I agree with you on Slack or on Teams or any of these tools, right, it's tenable. So if your current organization allows the use of WhatsApp as an official means of communication, that's fine. But my current organization, WhatsApp is not an official means of communication, right? Whilst we do a lot of communication on WhatsApp, so if things are then very critical, I tell my guys, send in an email or I will just put in an email.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much for that. So coming to you, Adaobi, what do you wish you knew before now?
When just listening to him talk, I thought back to when I first started my career. And one of the things for someone like me, so I would use myself as a prototype. I'm a goal-getter. What that means for me is delivering the job should actually get me the promotion and what have you. But getting into corporate, I realized competence is the baseline.
Yeah.
You are required to be competent. But beyond competence is what keeps you, it's what determines how far you will go. So you're competent, excellent, because that's the basic requirement. But then social capital, who you know or who knows what you are working on,
Your sponsor.
and who can trust your judgment determines how far you are going to go in that organization. Why? Because there are decisions that are going to be made without you being on that table. Does anybody sitting on that table know your name, remember who you are, or are you just a wallpaper in the office that they notice, oh, this person works for us or works with us? But nobody can actually say, I have seen her work, I trust the quality of her work, therefore I can put my name on it that this person is worth the promotion or worth the increase. So you need to be able to juggle your competence. It's the basic requirement. Take all the training, the certification. But at the end of it all, like he rightly said, how are you documenting the work you're doing? It's not just you coming to brag. It's not a brag right. It's about how you share it that shows that you are playing for the team and bringing value, but yet you are being heard, you're being seen, you're being known. Your managers will go to a meeting where you're not seated there and they should be able to say, oh, I trust that Oyekemi can do that job. Why? Because I have heard her over time, even when she presents. So if you don't have the opportunities being handed over to you, can you also volunteer for those opportunities that will put you out there? There is an event going on. You can volunteer to present for your boss. Especially if you work with a boss who is not providing you the opportunities. Look for opportunities where you can show yourself. It registers you in the memory of people. And then when decisions are made when you're not there, people can easily remember you. It's called thought of mind presence, right? That's what we call it in research. For a consumer to pick up your product, they must have seen the billboard about you. They've heard the radio jingle about you. You're all up in their mind. At the point when they enter the market to buy, they remember that jingle that was singing, or their daughter or their son was singing it, and they quickly just go for it. It's top of mind presence. How top of mind are you in the minds of your boards, your managers, and those who sit to make a decision when you're not there?
Yeah.
Interesting. I say that because I'm thinking for people who are maybe not in a very structured environment and they get to think about is that how do I make my presence known? Or I'm working in an organization where we have a whole lot of people and there is competition. How do I make myself relevant? Like, okay, I'm working with Simi and Ada and both of them know me. I don't know if you could just touch on that because that's something that is burning in the hearts of a lot of people.
So breaking it down, why did you get into the organization? Did you get into become one of the statistics? So when the organization was recruiting you, they had a JD for you.
Yeah.
How many of you are doing that JD? How are you owning an aspect of the JD that everybody knows that's your go-to area? When they think of this area, That's your go-to area. So I would use the most common department, which is the sales department. Everybody's selling.
Yeah.
So in that scenario, everybody has almost the same JD. How would you stand out of the crowd? There are different customer segments you sell to. How have you built a customer segment that only you can convert? And that customer segment is pulling in so much of a revenue that you cannot be ignored. You need to think about it. Don't sell to the Joneses. Don't sell to everybody. Yeah, there's everybody, but there is the going over and beyond where you then think to say, oh, this is a new opportunity we haven't tapped into. Why don't I research into it, experiment, find the possibilities of us being able to sell? And at the next meeting, you're able to say, boss, I think there's an opportunity for us. You're already coming in their mind. So if you keep hiding under, oh, I'm just delivering my number, you'll be part of the statistics. You would not be known.
Thank you very much. You mentioned something earlier that your father spent about 35 years in service. Your dad, yes.
35 years, not
35
about
years.
35.
Okay.
Yes, maybe more.
Okay, 35 years. And you know, connected with him, you used to learn from him and all that. So for people who are not able to, you know, connect or have that kind of relationship with their parents, with their fathers, what do you suggest they do in that regard?
Maybe to also sort of enhance the question, maybe you also have a father who, for example, is not a professional or who cannot probably offer some
Add
help
any value to you in the path
in
you've
that
chosen.
particular area. So first, for example, I have a mentor who is about 4 years younger than my dad. You know, he's more exposed in terms of international exposure. So you could find somebody that could fill in the gap for you. Sometimes you could also have a virtual mentor. You know, I watched Jack Welch. There's no video about Jack Welch that I've not seen. Watched everything on YouTube, Jack Ma, and you learn a lot from these people. So even if you don't have physical interaction with the particular profile of the kind of person you want, if you can't meet them physically, you could connect through their books, through their podcasts, through their tweets, through their on LinkedIn platform. So it gives you an idea of how they think and the kind of energy that you project that you can actually sort of learn from.
Can I jump on this? It's just to help, right? Especially for the younger generations who are always constantly looking for mentors. We've gotten to an era where this mentorship thing seems to be overflowed. And a lot of mentors also don't want badly behaved mentees.
Yeah, everybody's
So
busy.
emotional intelligence for you as the person who is seeking guidance is really important. Realize that this person who is going to give you their time, they are actually having to forgo something to give you that attention. How do you show that you are worth that time? Makes them consistently now pour back into you. So you come, there's that conversation of, oh, where are you, what's happening? And I'm observing you, I'm watching you, because the moment I take you on as a mentee, I'm watching you. I'm watching how you are playing your career or how you're moving in your workplace. That shows to me even if you're serious or you're worth my time. You don't come to have that conversation. So this is actually when you already even have the access.
Yeah.
Prior to you having the access, let us say you don't even have the access yet, you can go for their program. Some of these people hold conferences, and at these conferences, you can have someone introduce you, and they'll try and probably buy their course. By buying their course, it shows that you value the knowledge they carry. Once you pay someone who is already a sensei in an industry money to take their course, it shows to them that you value the knowledge they're going to give you before they now bring you into that access that might not be paid, where you now come into that relationship that gives you access to them. You need to pay that price. And we're in an era where courses are no longer hidden. They're everywhere. Pay the price. What price are you willing to pay? For everything, for greatness, there's a price of dedication, of hard work, of time. For you to be able to have that mentor who you have an access to, there is a price to pay. Be it going for their courses, ensuring that you are, like he rightly said, he was reading all the book by Jack Ma, everything, buying the book. That's a sacrifice. He was spending his hard-earned money to buy those books, read and glean the knowledge the man put out, because he finds his knowledge worthy of his time. When you don't do all of that, you cannot come out to say, oh, nobody's willing to mentor you. You've not paid any price. Now, by the time you've paid the price and you've come into that access, then you also need to get your acts together. You can't come into a relationship with such an access and all you're talking about is, oh, my boss is this, oh, my boss is that. The person will not consider you serious. Nobody wants to waste their time. They want you to have a one-on-one. Now, I will give you a real life example. One of my mentees started out as my PA. She had looked for every opportunity to work with me. She didn't see an opportunity until I put out and I had rolled out and I needed a PA. And she applied and she sent me a personal pitch. I don't want you to pay me. I want to work for you for free. And after a year, if you think I'm worth it, then you can pay me.
Wow.
That's a huge
It's a huge,
revolutionary.
yeah.
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 So she was willing to, and she knew, so what the things that she wanted to learn from me, she felt like, yes, I've listened to you talk, but I needed to work with you to see the things that you don't say on stage, the things you don't say in those conferences.
Yeah.
It has to do with your work ethics that people don't see on the gram. And it is by working with you, how you drill me, how you send me back to redo it, how you now help me to understand how you think. That's what she wanted to pick from me. And she couldn't get it from attending conferences where I speak. So by working with me, there were times where I sent her to redo a work 5 times. So like, this is what I wanted to understand. How do you think about this,
Yeah,
that pieces
that's
this together?
process,
And
yeah.
after a year, I paid her. Not just that I paid her, I started sending her to my clients to go and pitch. She will close jobs. I'll tell her, do it, Deborah, do it, and collect the money.
Wow.
Now when she wants to, we don't have that daily relationship anymore because she started working for.
She has also
Just
grown.
go.
She's grown.
Yeah.
She has a team where she works for in an agency. She's building conferences herself. She calls me now can I take you on a date? I want to pick your brain. So she took me to a date on my birthday. She was like, pick any restaurant of your choice.
Wow.
And I picked and she paid. That's sacrifice. We spent 1 hour. Within the 1 hour, she came with her recorder with the questions she has written down because it wasn't about food. I'm buying you food. Ma, answer my question. So you see what I'm talking about? It's about sacrifice. What are you willing to give? Really?
But you see, the younger generation these days, they're not very patient.
We were also young. I mean, when we say younger generation, I mean, I'm not 60. So really,
We went through their age.
that impatience thing, I also understand. Maybe what's different now is that there's a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I remember when I started my career, there was no known online job agency.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There was not. I don't think there was any. Right. I think the first that we had was probably 2008. Nigeria jobs.
Most jobs were on
Nigeria
newspaper
hot
then.
jobs.
Yeah.
But not like today. Your opportunities
It's everywhere.
1,000.
jamming
Everywhere.
you at your face all the time, right? There's also the social media madness, whether it's Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever. You see a classmate that's seemingly doing better than you, then you're apprehensive, you are now agitated, you look like you are not getting things right.
And maybe
It
you
makes you
did
feel
better than the person in school.
maybe that's what's fueling all of the impatience, as you said. Yeah.
So, I see people come and say, okay, I want you to be my mentor, right? But that commitment is really not there. Or maybe when they come to you, the kind of conversations, just like you mentioned, it's
Having
just
with you.
centered around something. Some might even be
Emptiness.
money, financial support, and all that. So how can we help them also move a step further to think beyond the immediate? Just like Deborah. Deborah saw something in the future that she pushed to work with. So is there any way we can help these younger guys to see that bigger picture and just run with it?
I think that there was something she said, right? When you asked the question around how do you show yourself at work? And what I tell people is find a legacy, something that you'll be remembered by, right? You live on your own terms. I mean, LIV, daily as you come to work, it should be on your own terms. I also have a similar experience, but what I've learned is everybody cannot have the same level of hunger.
That's true.
So recently I've built, depending on your career level, so I've built some set of questions, which should be 15 to 30 minutes. It's very boring that you have to go and answer. It's on my own personal leadership, whatever website. So you've got to go answer that question. So when I send to you, and you can't take 15, 20 minutes to answer that question. So it asks questions about your background, your career, your aspirations, your fear, how people perceive you, blah, blah, blah. Then I will run it through my AI tool to then determine how I will work with you. I've sent to a couple of people, only one person literally filled that thing. So when I send to you, I give you a timeline and you don't fail, then you are not ready. So you that's my own strategy. So I put a structure there to to make sure that you're ready. And if you're not ready, I just
I think I like that because it
Yeah.
helps you track who and where to put your time into.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Speaking of perception, or you want to
So
add
I'm
to
going to
that?
say something,
Okay.
right? It's a personal journey. When all is said and done, especially for myself now that I run a company, it's not every day I want to get out of bed and show up in the office. So for that individual who you're saying, how can we encourage them? You need to personally, like you rightly said, hunger. You need to personally desire it for yourself. There is so much I, as a mentor, as someone you look up to, can desire it for you. If you don't desire it for yourself, you would not be willing to show up in the way that is required for you to show up. So a good number of them might want to start with first unlearning the lackadaisical attitude they've learned. Lackadaisical attitude, it's an attitude. It's the daily small things. You can start with small things, right? How have you set out to do XYZ and the year is over and you haven't even done it? It will tell you a lot about yourself. The questions is set is actually supposed to help you profile yourself before you join his committee. While you are answering those questions, you will be able to ask yourself critical questions. Am I ready for this level of commitment? So it's not to desire it. It's good to desire it, but it's also good to ask yourself, what is it that has really kept me back from becoming the best version of myself? How can I begin to tackle these personal issues so that I don't now show up where I'm supposed to get help, right? Everybody says the helper of my life or whatever it's supposed
Of destiny.
Exactly. And you now mess it up. Then truly you say your village people are following you. So you need to do, it's not village people that is following you. It is you self-sabotaging. So in the little things, I remember during COVID, I didn't know how to skip. But I had done everything and I said, oh, this was a good enough time to learn to skip. I picked it up the first time. It was like the most
difficult
thing to do. Whoa. Meanwhile, I saw the 7-year-old skipping. I like, what? No, I cannot be defeated. I started skipping. I would show up daily, do 50, get tired. Do you realize that before COVID was over, I'd started doing 1,000, 1,500?
Wow.
Consistency, showing up, even when I fell on my butt. I would fall, the children would laugh, you don't know how to skip. it hurts me because I'm like, what? No. But I was still, when everybody's sleeping, I will wake up, I will pick up my skipping rope, I will show up. I kept on showing up. Even days when, because for some people, it might bring tears to your eyes, like, oh, I should be over this. Even in the tears, can you stand up, wake up? You know how busy my year has been. It's been near impossible for me to go to my office with everything that I have handled. But I have showed up in the office. Sometimes I showed up in my office 2 p.m. Office closes at 4. I will show up in the office 2 p.m. irrespective of how my day has been. Just because I told my HR I'll be in the office today, even if it's 5 minutes, I will show up because it's registering something. I'm building the muscle of consistency. Resilience. I'm developing that muscle. Nobody's going to develop resilience for you. You have to develop it. So you first and foremost need to look at what's your resilience level. What is making you not even resilient? When you tackle that, then you can now go and be looking, because most of the people that want to mentor you, they're looking for consistent. Nobody's going to waste their time on someone who cannot show up.